Hello and welcome to the Flourishing Introvert Talks with me, Jo Rawbone. This is the podcast that celebrates the natural gifts of introverts so that we can flourish in all situations. Episode 180, In Praise of Bravery. This last week, I was inspired to focus on bravery by one of the new members of Introverts Corner. In her introduction, she shared that she was setting up a new business, and because she'd need to be visible and heard, she just needed to be braver. Now, I'm never a fan of the qualifier just in any circumstances, actually, particularly not in this instance. Part of the myth that surrounds us as introverts is that we are scaredy cats, afraid of our own shadows. And whilst introverts may not fit the conventional image of bravery associated with extraverted behaviour, we nonetheless possess unique qualities that can enable us to be courageous in our own right. So in this episode, I want to explore what we mean by bravery and which of our inherent strengths we can channel in order to be braver. I feel that an important place to start is to define what I mean by bravery. For me, bravery simply refers to our willingness to face danger, difficulty, or adversity. Brave individuals exhibit courage, resilience, and determination in the face of challenging circumstances. Bravery often involves taking action despite the potential risks or uncertainties. It requires demonstrating moral or physical strength, and sometimes requires standing up for what is right. It can manifest in various forms, such as acts of heroism, speaking up against injustice, or pursuing ambitious goals, even though there are obstacles. Bravery is related to, but distinct from, confidence, as bravery can be exhibited by those who lack confidence, and that's because it may arise from a sense of duty, moral conviction, or other external factors. I've spoken about confidence many times before and will continue to do so, as I believe it necessary to have both confidence and bravery in order to flourish. Ironically, confidence comes from believing that we can do something and then taking action, and that action probably takes bravery, right? So, is bravery then the precursor to confidence? Maybe it is. There certainly seems to be a symbiotic or reciprocal relationship between the two. I think I'll come back to that question at the end of this episode. There are similarities between confidence and bravery in that both involve a sense of fearlessness or the ability to confront challenging situations. They both contribute to personal growth and development, enabling individuals to expand their comfort zones and achieve goals. Both qualities are admired and valued in various aspects of life, including personal endeavours, personal relationships, and self-fulfilment. There are also differences, though. Bravery is specifically tied to facing fear or danger, so I guess it depends on how we define fear and danger. I know that those words have become rather overused in that things we find challenging we often refer to as things that we fear. Confidence can be more stable and enduring, while bravery may arise in specific circumstances and vary depending on the situation. So it's fair to say that bravery and confidence are intertwined qualities that share similarities but also have distinct characteristics. Introverts possess numerous strengths that can empower us to be brave. We tend to be reflective, observant, and empathic, which allows us to gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. Introverts excel in introspection, enabling us to analyse situations carefully and make well-informed decisions. Moreover, our preference for solitude can provide us with the necessary space for self-reflection, which enhances our ability to act with conviction. Possibly the greatest gift we may have here may be that we're more reliant on our own validation, as we've often had little from other people. Of course, this can work both ways in that we can also talk ourselves out of taking action too. Bravery is not confined to grand gestures or acts of heroism. It encompasses a broad spectrum of behaviours, ranging from small everyday acts to significant life-changing decisions. For introverts, bravery might involve expressing our opinions in that meeting where we normally get shot down or talked over. Or it might involve taking calculated risks in our personal or professional lives, as my inspiration for this episode was in setting up a new business. It also involves working at our learning edge, that band beyond our comfort and competency zones, but before the anxiety zone. I still don't recommend we routinely play out there in the fear and anxiety zone unless the situation demands or you're a thrill seeker. And of course, we never know when we'll need to call on our bravery. To be brave while staying true to our introverted nature, we can tap into our strengths and implement appropriate strategies that feel authentic for us. Building on our natural inclination for introspection, we can engage in thorough self-assessment and then set ourselves realistic goals aligned with our values and aspirations. I recommend we develop our own personal definition of bravery and identify areas in which we want to grow. This means getting real and honest about what is really fear-inducing and what is just uncomfortable for us. And that's so different for us all, so no judgment from me. Fear refers to a genuine emotional and physiological response triggered by a perceived threat or danger. It's an innate survival mechanism designed to protect us from harm. Here are some of the characteristics of real fear. The first is that it's immediate and intense. Real fear often arises suddenly and elicits a strong emotional response. It can trigger the fight, flight or freeze response, leading to physiological reactions like increased heart rate, sweating and heightened senses. The second characteristic is that there's a clear danger. Real fear typically arises here in response to a tangible and present threat, such as a physical danger or a life-threatening situation. The third characteristic is one we may recognise well, and it's that it's overwhelming, because real fear can overpower rational thinking and temporarily impair our decision-making abilities. It can lead to instinctive reactions aimed at self-preservation, and I think this is where we as introverts can get caught up with our natural propensity to overthink. And I wonder, therefore, if we put more things in the fear bucket than perhaps need to be there. And lastly, experiences associated with real fear can leave lasting psychological effects. They have a traumatic impact. The memory of such events may cause distress or anxiety even after the threat has passed. We're so much better informed about PTSD, for instance, and it's why I explored trauma-informed coaching, as none of us know what traumas another has experienced. Let's balance this then with challenging situations, because they, on the other hand, refer to circumstances that may be difficult, demanding, or again at our learning edge. Typically, they do not pose an immediate threat to our physical well-being, but we often treat them as though they do. Here are some of the characteristics of challenging situations. There's a perceived difficulty. Challenging situations are often perceived as difficult or demanding, requiring effort, skill, or adaptability to overcome. The difficulties can be intellectual, social, emotional, or physical in nature. Challenging situations also often provide opportunities for personal growth, learning, and development. They can push us to expand our capabilities and acquire new skills or perspectives. Challenging situations can also vary in intensity and impact from person to person. What might be challenging for one individual may not be as challenging for another, depending on our previous experiences, our abilities, and our resources. The final characteristic of a challenging situation is that it's manageable, because whilst they may evoke discomfort, mild stress or uncertainty, they're typically within the realm of what can be managed and overcome with appropriate strategies, support and effort. So I believe we can do ourselves a great favour by checking our language and being really clear about what we're fearful of and what is merely challenging. I say merely like it's nothing, and believe me, I am not diminishing challenges. If you could have seen me backstage before my TEDx in 2019, you'd have been worried for my health and well-being. I was shaking like a leaf, not because I was afraid, I've faced many much larger audiences before, but because it was challenging. I was sharing about me and my struggles and my new mission in life. I was not in danger, and nothing or no one was threatening my life. So let's check our language so we only use fear in appropriate circumstances. I know this may be unpopular and it may lose me a few listeners, but I'm going to say it anyway. Telephone conversations are nothing to be feared, and yes, we may find them challenging, but we can develop relevant skills and strategies. Public speaking is nothing to be afraid of, but it is a challenge for some of us to navigate. And with good training and plenty of practice, anyone can become good at public speaking, if they want to, that is. Socialising is nothing to be scared of, but we do need our strategies so we can overcome the challenges that socialising presents. Once you know how to open a conversation and get the other person talking about things that interest you both, it can be enriching. So let's stay with what we can do. I found cultivating deep connections with a small group of people, like my accountability buddies, my mentor, and my understanding friends, has allowed me to build meaningful relationships that provide mutual support and encouragement. They're my go-to when I need to put my brave pants on. Next, I'm constantly upgrading my skills, even at my ripe old age, as I'm always aspiring to be the best version of me. Not perfect, just the best that I can be in that moment. And I check my language. Our subconscious doesn't know the difference between real and imagined, so if we feed it messages of fear, it will believe us and respond accordingly. If we reframe where possible and only class those genuinely dangerous situations as something to fear, we'll find ourselves feeling a whole lot more capable and in control. Bravery is not limited to personal endeavours, it's also essential in professional settings, especially if you're ambitious and have aspirations. Introverts can demonstrate bravery by asserting themselves in the workplace, advocating for their ideas and taking on leadership roles. They can contribute their unique perspectives and strengths to team projects, and by doing so, they can create a positive impact and inspire others. Introverts can also challenge themselves to engage in networking events or public speaking opportunities, pushing the notion of what's possible while remaining true to their introverted nature. It's all there for the taking, if we desire it. Taking care of ourselves is crucial for maintaining the bravery necessary to face those challenges. Introverts thrive when we have time for solitude and reflection, so it's essential for us to prioritise self-care activities that align with our needs. This may include engaging in our favourite hobbies, reading, spending time in nature, or practising mindfulness. By ensuring we have adequate time and space for recharging, we introverts can replenish our energy and be ready to face new experiences bravely. Please know that I will do all in my power to support and celebrate your bravery. Society often overlooks or undervalues introverted bravery, which can lead we introverts to question and doubt our own courage. by acknowledging the unique contributions that introverts make and the strengths we possess, we can foster a culture rich in psychological safety that values diverse forms of bravery. Introverts possess immense potential for bravery by understanding and embracing our introverted nature, getting clarity on what we're really afraid of and what is merely challenging, and taking courageous steps in both personal and professional spheres. Introverts can redefine bravery on our own terms. Through our bravery, introverts can create a positive impact and inspire others, demonstrating that true courage is not the preserve of the extroverts. One of my business principles is quietly gutsy, so I'm not typically loud or brash in my acts of bravery, but I know I'm addressing things head on. I'm not playing small, I'm not hiding, and I'm not leaving things unsaid. If you think you would benefit from becoming braver, I'm running a 3-session experience of that name this August. Sorry for those of you listening later than August. The link to find out more about the Becoming Braver experience is in the show notes. And once the experience is over, I will post something about it on my website and probably on LinkedIn, so make sure you follow me there too. Now back to that question I posed at the start. After my jaunt through the realms of bravery and all that it entails, I do believe that bravery is the precursor to much of our confidence, and that they are intertwined. So here's to your courage, your confidence, and your continued flourishing. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, then please subscribe, rate us, and leave a comment, because we know that that helps other people find the podcast. And if other people find us, other introverts can flourish.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.